What is up, Remmorii Squad? Welcome back to the channel. We are in week 12, the final week of the Artist's Way. Let's get straight into it. As you can see, we're in a new setting, taking it back to where we started. We're at the studio. Artist's Way, week 12. What a journey. So let's talk about what this week was about. It was about recovering a sense of faith. It reads, in this final week, we acknowledge the inherent mysterious spiritual heart of creativity. We address the fact that creativity requires receptivity and profound trust, capacities we have developed throughout our work in this course. We set our creative aims and take a special look at last-minute sabotage. We renew our commitment to use the tools. What a week it's been. The chaos, the fun, the excitement. We're gonna go straight into our check-in questions. First check-in question, how many days this week did you do your morning pages? Have you accepted them as a permanent spiritual practice? How was the experience for you? So I did the pages 7 out of 7. Again, have I accepted them yet as a permanent spiritual practice? Definitely. Now it kind of feels weird not to do morning pages. There's been maybe 2 days that I haven't done it since the course has ended, and it feels kind of weird, like I'm missing something, or I haven't reset properly, or haven't grounded myself. So that's been interesting throughout the course of the past couple of days, but I've definitely accepted them as a permanent spiritual practice. It feels necessary. It feels welcoming. It feels like I expand myself. It's the stretching before a workout. How was the experience for you? Doing morning pages this past week was interesting because writing knowing that it could end and not knowing if I needed to continue writing, even though I would make a choice to continue writing, it was interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of freedom and openness when it comes to writing morning pages, and it's like an opportunity to connect with yourself. So in this last week, evaluating the connection with myself and bringing that into play and bringing that into focus as I write has been an interesting process, and I've tried to keep myself super open to it in this last week. The next question reads, did you do your artist date this week? Will you allow yourself these on a permanent basis as well? What did you do? How did it feel? Within quarantine, there was modeling agency that I wanted to work with, and went through the whole process, and they gave me these pamphlets that I had to hand out, and it was essentially like a face card or a portfolio that you would hand out to different agencies. And I never continued with the modeling stuff, but I still had a bunch of stacks of those cards that just was like my face, my measurements, yada yada yada. And I was gonna throw them out when I was doing a cleaning one day, but I was like, yo, I have an idea. And I started to make a board where I'm putting together pieces based off of that. That's what I did for my artist day, to try to piece together something and be limited by only one photo, right? And still try to create something. And the thing that I did is kind of like the collage thing that we did in one of the earlier weeks, piecing together different puzzle pieces through pictures, through magazines and stuff like that. But this time for my artist day, I only used one single photo from that face card portfolio thing that the agency gave me in order to try to create a piece. It's still in the process of being built, but that's what I did throughout this artist day. Will I allow myself these on a permanent basis as well? Yes, I will. It's super fun. Like, it feels necessary. It doesn't feel like it's going out of my way. It feels like I'm spending time with myself and I'm exploring myself. Like, I'm setting time to explore myself, because throughout the week you don't really have time to connect with yourself, and it's pretty grounding. And I like doing it on Sundays because it's like a reset before you go into the week. So I want to treat Sundays going forward as my artist date day and try to explore it and treat it like a solo day, but try to focus on creativity and letting myself play and do things that don't necessarily need to be perfect, but for it to just be fun and enjoyable. So that's how it did, and it felt hard. It felt fun. I remember getting into flow, and it also felt tough because throughout the process you don't really know how it's going to turn out, and you have to be okay with it not turning out in a specific way and letting go of control and just allowing yourself to do whatever feels right. And you're kind of constructing a piece that you don't know how it's going to turn out, so it feels like a puzzle, because you're just relying on, like, does this feel right? Is this going in the correct position? And if it is, then you're like, okay, then I'm just going to lock it in and move on to the next thing. So it was a very intuitive process and felt kind of frustrating, and I started to get a bit of a headache by just working on it, and seeing the same pattern for too long was limiting my creativity. So I went to go and cook instead, so that that would give me a new sense of creativity and switch up the vibe. And that's kind of what I did for my artist date, and it was great. And I'm glad that I chose that specifically to do as an artist date. Did you experience any synchronicity this week? What was it? I went to Downey Farm this past weekend to go and check out the pumpkin patch with my girlfriend, and I thought it was very interesting because when I logged back online, like I was pretty much offline this entire weekend. And when I logged back online and Instagram and was just checking stuff, I saw some girl that I went to church with when I was younger. She posted about it at the same time, and it was very interesting because I think she also appeared in my dream at one point. But that synchronicity of her showing up on the timeline and also going to Farms the same day that I went was very interesting and synchronistic. Outside of that, I'm trying to think if there was another synchronicity moment. I wouldn't say so. I'm gonna say no. There was no other ones. Were there any other issues this week that you consider significant for your recovery? Describe them. I think time, and I think forgetting about the chapters that I've read in the past. Like when issues come up, not remembering what I worked through in those specific weeks, because there was a week about recovering a sense of abundance with money, and then there was one about time. And when issues come up, it's challenging to feel like I have the tools and I'm supposed to remember all the tools in order to mitigate how I feel about this specific obstacle, whether it's time or money. But also, I met with somebody in the industry of what I'm trying to go into, copywriting, and I had a connect with them, and it was challenging because it felt like I've been moving forward with creativity and trying to transition to make it more of my 9 to 5, and that's what I'm working through. And it feels like the conversations that I'm having with these people don't always amount to results, and it's hard to not see them as being beneficial in and of itself instead of it being as a next step to get somewhere. So that's not always the easiest when it feels like things need to be now. And I think throughout this process, with it being the last week, it's been a very interesting period of awareness that I've had to tap into different thoughts that come my way and try to pay attention to what life's trying to teach me through these issues that prevent me from enjoying the process of just being and working towards enjoying the art and the journey of creativity and learning its secrets. And one of the affirmations that I formed along this past week that I've been writing in my morning pages after I complete it is I accept that creativity and its secrets are a lifelong journey. And that's something that's been hard for me to accept, and it's been an issue that I've been working through with my recovery. So that's it. And that was week 12. Do I know what I'm going to be doing for my next YouTube videos? No. Am I going to still be creating? Yes. Am I looking forward to it? Yes. Should you look forward to it? Yes. But I have no idea what I'm doing next. I'm glad that I made a point to record this entire journey. I could have kept it personal, but I pushed myself throughout this entire journey to share with myself when I watch this back in the future, or whoever else might see it, to understand that at least I went through the process, I showed up, and I created just for the sake of creating, not for anything else. And I'm not seeing like the views or anything discourage me from continuing to post. And like these last two videos that I've posted, I've made a point to shoot additional B-roll content to add a bit more spice instead of just going through it. And so I'm really curious to see how my creativity evolves over time and how I become more of a deeper and truer and pure creative. And I'm looking forward to uncovering that throughout this artist way, which, even though it's the end of week 12, it's not the end. So thank you guys for being along with this. And I know there's been a couple of consistent people watching, and I really appreciate that. So let me know what you want to see next. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Let me know if this was helpful too. I have a lot of other ideas that I want to implement and build on. So looking forward to what the future holds and hope to see you there. Ciao. Remmorii Squad out.